We now welcome on Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good. And Vinny, of
Yeah.
course, is a reporter for the Review Journal, covers the Las Vegas Raiders. Go ahead, Mary Kay.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. We're really happy to have you. And I'm going to start right off with the quarterback. How is Derek Carr doing? I see that he's got 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's number 3 in rating. What's going so well with Derek this season?
Well, I think what you're seeing is the benefit of continuity. It's the first time in Derek Carr's career going all the way back to high school, really, where he's had a third straight year with the same head coach, a third straight year with the same offensive coordinator. He talked a lot about that this offseason, just in terms of understanding what's going on. In a lot of ways, the Raiders did a disservice to Derek Carr over his first 6 years or so. There was constant changeover, whether you're talking about coaches, general managers, talent coming in and out of the building. And really, that's a bad recipe for any quarterback. He still put up, fairly decent numbers, but, being able to take it to another level just wasn't available to him because it was constantly trying to learn a new system, a new coaching staff, new verbiage, and all of that. Whereas this year, he came into this, training camp, such as it was, really just adding on and mastering rather than learning. And so I think that you're really seeing the benefit of that. The relationship with he and John Gruden, the working relationship, but also they did a really good job, or have done a really good job over the last couple of years, of rebuilding the offensive line, giving him weapons like Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, Henry Ruggs. We're seeing him this year, Hunter Renfrow, Nelson Aguilar. So I think there's also just better talent around him, and naturally that's going to benefit a quarterback as well.
Well, obviously, the biggest sign that this team has gotten better this year is beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, tell us, how did that happen, and what lingering effects or whatever confidence did they get from that victory?
I think tremendous confidence. It was kind of one of those you can't go back now sort of moments for them. The previous 2 weeks, they had lost two straight games going into that game. And, it was what those 2 games showed them, those 2 losses showed them, is that they're not good enough to play while also shooting themselves in the foot, continually shooting themselves over the foot, in the foot. Their first 2 games, 2 wins, they pretty much played perfect football offensively. Real low turnover numbers. The penalties were very manageable. That didn't happen in games 3 and 4, and it really cost them. And it taught them a lesson of, we're not good enough to be able to play while overcoming our own mistakes. And so they played perfect football basically against the Kansas City Chiefs, and just got just enough defense, especially in that second half, holding Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to just 8 points over 2 quarters is notable. And as a result, the defense, stood up and gave the offense some opportunities, more opportunities to do their thing. And when the offense is playing smart, efficient, clean football, they could score points pretty much against anybody. And they showed that against Kansas City Chiefs. But while that offense is a playoff caliber offense for all intents and purposes, the defense needs a lot of help. And that's where they got to get more complementary football from that defense. They showed in that Kansas City game, especially in that second half, hey, a stop here or a stop there, getting the ball back to the offense, really makes a big impact. But if they're just getting run, up and down the field on no matter how many points the offense scores, it's always going to have to be a situation where they've got to outshoot the other team. And that's not a world that anybody really wants to operate on in for any long period of time.
So speaking of the defense, obviously pressure has been an issue. Only 7 sacks this season, not really generating a lot of pass rush. I know they signed one of our old friends here in Cleveland, Carl Nassib, Hard Knock star a few years ago. Why have they been unable to generate a pass rush? Is it a talent issue, and can they fix it?
It's a great question, and as John Gruden has talked about this week, they've gone into the laboratory to try to figure it out. The easy answer is guys just aren't winning one-on-one battles enough to create the pressure. They're way down on the sacks. They're way down on the pressures. The quarterback hits all the metrics that you use to analyze and to take a look at who's creating pressure and who isn't. And then they're also at 15%, somewhere around there in terms of blitzing percentage on dropbacks by opposing quarterbacks. That's fourth or fifth lowest in the NFL. So the lights are going off. Hold on one second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
There we
Okay.
go.
Modern technology. So maybe you'll see some in terms of trying to fix it, maybe some more blitzing. But I think that's a double-edged sword, because then that exposes, if you're not getting there where you want to get in terms of creating the pressure or sacking quarterbacks, then you're leaving a young and banged up secondary vulnerable to try to cover for that.
So if I can put you on the spot, then, if you had to make a pick, and we don't know if you actually make picks for your paper, but if you had to make a pick, who you taking in this game?
I think the Raiders are going to bounce back. I think they're going to be healthier along the offensive line. They're going to be obviously in a better position on the offensive line than they were in the Tampa Bay game. I think that this defense, however they do it, they're going to play a little bit better as well than they did Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think Derek Carr and the offense are going to put up points, and so it's probably going to be a bit of a shootout, which I'm sure the fans will love watching and being there. But I'll give a slight edge to the Raiders.